lately I've been having to deal with some really challenging supernatural warfare and overburdened as Paul was in Asia due to a move 5 months ago that I'm yet not completely um, done with all the labor. And because had a particularly difficult week and a particularly hard warfare yesterday, that was just dealing with the warfare that's been binding me up to be able to be fruitful really as I want. Even though you see I am producing a video here, a video there, commenting here and there, it's nothing that what I am capable of doing when I'm unhindered. So I was feeling um, unhappy and feeling perhaps distance from the Lord in a way that I do not like. And before I went to bed, I prayed to the Lord that He would please give me affirmation, because right now, when you're in the middle of such warfare, any kind of vision or plans that you had, it gets lost in the fight. And I asked Him if He would please, if He'd give me any kind of affirmation that um, uh, He has work for me to do, and He wants me to do it, and I am still uh, a worker for Him, and that I will be getting back to the work. So I actually did get something, which at least I was pleased that the Lord was. It always amazes me when He does answer prayers like that immediately. But I found myself in a Christian camp, meeting that was taking place somewhere in, I don't know, not Central Florida, but somewhere where there are pines. And it was a camp. I've never actually been to a Christian camp, but that's where I was. And it was where many Christians were gathered together in this retreat or for a camp. And in this camp, which is kind of interesting because in a way, uh, has roots to a weighty dream that I received from the Lord in August, 3 months ago, where it had to do with Satan tempts the church with his bride, where I had an interview again with a leading pastor of a huge church who was seeking a wife. Well, in this one, I was in this camp, and it is the purpose of this of the people meeting together in this camp, where there were hundreds and hundreds of Christians there, was to choose pastor. It was to choose a pastor for to lead them. It was choosing pastors, and I found myself out in the pine forest. It was daylight, and there were other Christians around. And all of a sudden, I got an open vision. And in the open vision, I saw dark storm clouds in front of me across the water. And it was in the sky, and it filled the sky. A little bit like the Close Encounters of the Unexpected a movie kind of clouds are coming. And then I saw further further down, the Lord Jesus Christ was on those clouds, coming on those clouds. And I announced it to the people that the Lord Jesus Christ was coming, that Jesus was coming. And it had to do with his final coming. And then I received 2 or 3 other visions while I was there. And I was simply telling the people what I was seeing. I mean, when I was seeing them, it was no different than the uh, regular environment that I was seeing. It was not a looking dreamish or hallucination. It was part of the reality. However, I knew that they were open visions of the future, the near future, to tell you the truth, because what I was getting, I had the feeling in the dream was close to when that would be happening. And that's all I was doing. I was imparting the different visions that I was getting while I was there. Uh, and I was getting an awful lot of visions. Well, because of this, only because of this, the people chose me as the pastor. As a pastor, not because I laughed because I don't have any credentials for a pastor, but um, it was not anything to do with any kind of training I had, nothing whatsoever to do with any kind of eloquent preaching, as some pastors are very powerful preachers. Even in the original day of the apostles, there was a particular member of the church who had a gift for preaching, and the apostles would have him go around with them in some places. But I'm not because of any merit of mine. That's the most important thing to say. It was not because of any merit of mine, but simply because the Lord Jesus had picked me to give these visions. To give these visions. Not because of anything about me, but he just picked me. So he picked me, and I was the one getting the visions. And based on all these visions that I was just getting, like a lot of visions, one after the other, I was elected by some church to be their pastor, and I found myself still giving visions in this camp. And two people had assigned themselves to me as my helper, a man, and some other person who would travel with me as I went about imparting these last day visions. And that was the dream. So the Lord answered my prayer, and that he gave me affirmation in dreams that not so much that this is literal, but that I was for him someone he chose to impart uh, his messages. So I got a direct, uh, interesting, and awesome answer to my prayer from the Lord this evening.